I got it. What?
Welcome to the Corner podcast. My name is Briarbite, and area mom discovers 100-year-old secret. See today on Shocking Clips Only.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
Is it a good website?
No.
You don't like it, okay. I'm Cam Damage, and are you more of a Fuddruckers gay, or... Wait, I forgot what the other one was.
Today.
No, wait. No, I should read. Oh, it's Red Robin.
All right. Welcome to the Corn. Hello. Welcome to the Corn Corner podcast. I'm Briarbite Wren, and area mom uncovers 100-year-olds. See it today on Shocking. All right, you do yours. I'll just do a bunch in your face.
We can just keep my fuck up. It was funny.
Today, we're gonna be talking about something.
We're gonna talk about it's a hard one to intro because it's not a concise thing. Societal expectations surrounding sex on femme people. I don't want to say around girls, but I suppose it more is. But just in general and the patriarchal implications therein.
Today, we're going to be talking about a really light, fun subject.
Yeah. You know how when you were growing up and you were a girl, even if you're a guy now, and
Well, I think it's important for men to hear this too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I just mean I was, there's that's the thing with trans people is that and it changes on the fucking day for me, frankly, is that you are no, I've always been, I've always been a dude, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't change that you were socialized as, I was socialized as a girl.
I think it depends the energy that is brought up with.
Yeah. And in terms of this discussion of sexuality and social currency and where those two intersect, when you're raised and socialized as a girl, it's certainly different than otherwise.
Yeah. I think that you want to talk about how pressures, power dynamics, saying no isn't always as easy as it seems.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So I brought this one to the table.
In the pitch meetings.
Yeah. In the, on the couch. Because I saw a post today that made me think about it, about how many times growing up that I had sex out of obligation. And not because I was this is what I want to do. This will be fun, yada, yada, yada. It was just he expects me to have sex with him now. Yeah. So I'm going to do that. And it didn't matter if I was I'm not really feeling it or something like that. And to be clear, I'm not saying that these were assaults. Mm-hmm. I consented, but just in my head, it was I'm just supposed to do this.
Yeah.
And the majority of my life before my mid-20s, my sexual experiences fell under that umbrella of I'm supposed to do this. This is where we have found ourselves. I'll do the thing. That's what I have to offer here.
Yeah.
And most interactions with men even in friendship sometimes were to lead to that place.
Do you think it's because of how people are brought up with media and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about earlier, but the societal implication that all women have to offer is sex, mm-hmm. or their sexual energy, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's validating to be am I able to get a man?
Yeah.
Interest.
Yeah. And this is how I attain attention and keep attention is by being sexually viable to the man. And that shows that I'm worth something.
It's really what the nuclear family is all built around. It's what all of society is built around, really.
What when women explain the nuclear family thing?
It's man, woman, 3 kids,
2.5 kids,
whatever it is.
Yeah.
House, garage, cars,
yeah,
the whole thing.
The American dream.
Yeah. It makes sense with like the idea that women stay at home, get pregnant, have babies, that kind of thing.
Raise babies.
The whole thing hinges on fuckability.
Yeah. True.
Which hurts everyone.
Yeah.
The patriarchy hurts everyone, if you will.
If I may.
So you said that there's a lot of times where it wasn't assault.
Yes.
But you said yes to doing things that maybe you weren't super into.
Yeah.
It's hard to say no in some situations, even if you are consenting to stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I feel like there's people always say you can say no at any time. Consent can be revoked whenever.
Yeah.
And these things are true. But some situations are harder than others when there's other things at play.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a whole scale of that, of just like, well, it's my boyfriend and like I'm at his house and we're alone. So like, even if I don't really feel like it, this is where we're supposed to have sex.
Yeah.
Like that's like where we do the thing or whatever. And like, even I hate the whole losing my virginity thing, and it's like a whole other discussion thing. But even that was like, oh, it's getting pretty, like I didn't do that until I was 17. And for our
Group,
our generation, that was like late. Like that was considered late. So like by then it was like, hey, I gotta do it. Like I'm supposed to do this. And it was just like this random dude I was dating then, and I was like, I guess I'm supposed to do it with him. And it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't terrible. It was just like, well, that was lame.
yeah, exactly.
But I was like,
You should do it.
yeah, I was like, this is when I'm doing this. And then like, it was like we were both drunk, and my best friend at the time was in the other room with a guy, and the thing happened. And then I went over to the other room and told my friend, and she was like, good job. Yeah. And would like congratulated me. And in retrospect, I'm like, what? Like the whole thing. I think she like hugged me.
There you go.
And it wasn't like, you're a woman now. Like
She would have been wrong.
yeah, I know. Yeah, me keeping my bra or shirt on for sex until I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Weird.
Was there a point where you said that there was obviously a point where things changed and you started to engage with that in a way you wanted to?
Yes. Yeah.
What was the change?
It's like it's a little sad in retrospect that it wasn't until I was in like into getting into rope stuff, and or like there were times with Brad that was like the only person that was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes in that I'm like demisexual. I didn't know that was a thing until a few years ago. Like I didn't know the terminology about that. But it turns out that I enjoy sexual interactions a lot more with people that I have like deeper emotional connection with, or some form of emotional connection with. Or I form sexual attraction as a secondary thing after I formed like an emotional connection. So like it makes casual hookups, which was the majority of my sex life through college and like my early 20s, they kind of suck.
Do you think people enjoy casual hookups a lot?
Yes.
Okay.
I think there are people that do.
Okay.
I think it takes a certain type of, like, they don't care about forming like special emotional bonds with people, which makes me, that sounds like an insult, but it's not.
Yeah, you're saying that they're not smart enough to comprehend.
Yeah. They are emotionally unintelligent.
No, I understand. They don't want to give someone a rock they found.
Yeah. They don't keep a rock they found on a little nature walk with a person. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't keep little leaves and stuff in a bag and things like that. And I'm not talking about leaf as in a person's name.
No.
I'm talking
An
about
amazing person.
Yeah.
Talking about a little leaf that you get in the woods and you hide it in a journal. Yep.
They don't do those things.
Nope.
So you brought up rope.
Yeah.
You said that was the thing that got you to a place where you were like engaging sexually and for yourself.
Yeah.
Why?
Definitely more.
Why rope? Like what? Oh, is it because there was like a connection between the two people?
There's definitely that. And also I think it's because it like, one of the benefits of rope was teaching me how to speak up for myself and how to have agency for things that I wanted and be a little more in control of like how I was approaching stuff, which me engaging with rope in the first few years of it absolutely was not an easy thing. Like, it's the same exact thing of doing stuff because you felt obligated, like tying with someone because it's exciting and like it feels like, I should do that. And then the scene gets really hard and or something to a place where you're like, this is rough, but you're like, I gotta push through it, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I have one instance in my head where I was at a convention on tie with somebody, and from the minute I sat down to tie, I was like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And we had an entire scene, and I hated every minute of it.
Yeah. But you just like...
Yeah. And I was like... But I said, it's like, it wasn't anything bad. Like, that person didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I just was like...
In your head, though. Like,
I was like, I knew I didn't want to do it, but I felt that pressure of being like, whatever, I want to do. But anyway, so you were, in the beginning, just kind of tying with everyone. I feel like everyone does that.
Yeah.
You just want to experience all the things.
Yeah.
I also think that there's a lot of language around kink that says that we can do that in a quote unquote safe space.
Yeah.
And there's a container to engage with everybody. And I think the longer you do it, you realize that maybe that's not the case.
Yeah. And maybe I don't want to. And maybe there's not necessarily value to doing that. And for like someone, like I've learned that the value for me was fostering a deeper thing with fewer people and exploring from there versus like, I'm going to the con and this is my dance card's full tonight. Like I'm tying with 4 people tonight, like whatever.
Who was the first person you tied with that made you feel that way?
Probably like Kiss Me Deadly
I was about to say, everyone get out that bingo card.
Well, it's hard. It's like,
or who is one of them? Not the first, but like who was,
DWL, Kiss Me Deadly Doll,
10,
like definitely,
yeah,
like people that made me feel like things that I wanted to say in rope, things that I wanted to do were like mattered. Wanted to see things that I could show them as like a bottom or like stuff like that, whatever. Like, yeah.
Do you think that you said like things that you want to show them as a bottom? Like, do you feel like there's maybe a change in you having the ability to speak up for what you wanted in a way?
Yeah, definitely.
Instead of just being like, yeah, do whatever.
Yeah.
Were you ever a person that was like, yeah, do whatever to me?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Even before I was involved in kink before rope.
Yeah.
Because I was in that one long-term DS relationship that was bad.
Yeah,
whatever.
bad.
Wish them both well.
Sure.
It was bad at the time. It was all bad. Anyway. But that was very much
long-term DS relationship not going well.
Weird.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
That was a huge, because I was still young then and was still doing things out of obligation consistently.
Yeah.
And it was, he wants to do this thing, this play thing that I hate.
Yeah.
But I'm a good sub.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'll put up with it. I'll get through it, and I'm a good sub if I do that.
Yeah.
I can't complain. Like if I cry or complain, I'm bad, and it's like that, like whatever thing that gets like all wheedled in our brains. Not just in terms of kink. That's like in life and sexuality. Like a thing I also posted about recently is just like people putting up with bad sex. Like, you don't have to put up with bad sex. Just like someone's doing something you don't like, communicate to them. Like,
I have 2 thoughts I want to say. One is that when you said you were a person that said, do anything to me. And there's those people that are like, I'll do anything. And they're known as like power bottoms and they'll do anything. And like they are up for it all. And that scares the fuck out of me. And I hate
the definition of power bottom, but
Well, as in, I mean, power bottom is
like
in
a
like,
tank. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like the 2 things. It's like they're a tank. They're known for taking a bunch of pain.
Yeah.
And they're into every kink and fetish under the sun.
Yeah.
That scares the fuck out of me for that person.
Oh, yeah.
Because once that dialogue starts, that person loses autonomy slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of like a couple of people specifically.
Yeah.
That other people say that about them. And I'm like,
That was me. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
yeah.
And it fucks you up.
And
like,
it's definitely not true now. Like, I would never intro myself
Yeah.
that way now. I have like a whole
and I
thing.
hear, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like I hear, people do that for other people. And it's always guys do it for people.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you can do whatever.
like, oh, this person, you can do whatever, that person, they're
Yeah,
in everything.
yeah.
I'm like, No,
They're not.
they're
Yeah.
not. And even if they are, that's not the way to approach it.
Yeah.
The dialogue around that is so damaging.
That's what there was like one specific scene that I was that person, and it was like maybe the first or second convention that I ever went to that was like a kink, not necessarily just rope, but it was like whatever. I think it was rope craft actually, but whatever. It had a bunch of other stuff. And I did a scene where the negotiation was like, whatever. I'm really tough. I can take a lot. You can do like, just give it to me, whatever. And there wasn't that much negotiation beside that.
Yeah.
And then it was a rough body play scene where like people watching were worried.
Yeah.
And things like I got punched in places you shouldn't get punched. Yeah. And afterwards I was like, whoa, man, like that was crazy. And I never want to experience that again. Like,
I think that is one thing. And I really want to be clear about what I was saying earlier is that if you negotiating that, because I've done the same thing where I'm like, let's anything goes.
Yeah.
Like that's on us to figure out our own
absolutely
journey.
I'm not saying that like
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's like I think it's even worse when someone else assigns to somebody saying like someone like, oh yeah, they are like a tank. They can do anything. They love it all. I'm not even worried. I can do anything with that person. It's like, that's even more scary than that person negotiating for like anything. Yeah. Because that person can learn that. But someone else reinforcing it and telling other people that gospel is scary.
I definitely also had that.
A reputation. Yeah, totally. I know.
Yeah. And I had the reputation of like, I'm the bomb proof. That's what we'd say in Rove. Bomb proof bottom. Like
that's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
And that was my thing. But now I still engage with kink with people, but I'm super incredibly selective about it.
Yeah.
And like on camera, I barely bottom now.
Why would you even want to be bomb proof? That's not the point.
But that's like,
no, I get it. I understand, but I'm also saying it's like now going through it, it's like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, there's not.
Because I don't know if you know Kiss Me Deadly Doll or not, but one time I tapped really early in a scene. She was like, that's what I want you to do.
That's what I was just going to say. Now that I switch more, I sometimes worry that people who bottom for me that are familiar with me as a kink person through the years are like, well, you're this crazy masochist and like I need to do what you do.
No.
But like that's not what I want. If I like all I have to do is like poke you in the sternum and you're like wincing, then like cool, it's gonna be a pretty easy scene for me and we're gonna have fun. Like and there's so much other things that I can do and I know your threshold now. So like we know what we're working in and that's like all. I'm not trying to like destroy someone and make them cry unless that's like what the scene's about. But like
I guess even like if you do want to destroy someone, if it is poking someone in the sternum, that could be destroying them or it could be going for 6 hours and whatever. But it's like, I guess it just doesn't make sense to me to be a tank anymore because the point is for the release.
Yes.
Give in.
Yeah.
To it.
Yeah.
Why you fight it?
Why you fight it?
It doesn't make sense.
Well, now we're just going on a whole, but I like where this is going, so I'm fine with it. That's a hard thing, like in itself. The like, I'm not everyone engages with kink play, and every masochist isn't looking for the ultimate like breakdown, cry, release thing or whatever. But I do think overall, where people who bottom and are masochists are looking for like an experience a place to growl and scream and let out pain sounds that we would otherwise keep inside because it's embarrassing or whatever like that. And I know in my case, I do want to be taken to a place where I'm able to cry because it's a different way of crying. Yeah. It's not like alone in my room crying. Like it's like crying with purpose and with someone there with me who's taken me there and is like there with me and for me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like which is another reason why like I do that with like 1 or 2 people right now. And like there's a reason for that. Yeah. And before I'd be like, well, whatever. Yeah. But also you couldn't make me cry like hardly if you were trying like your damnedest before. But anyway, I think that it is a lot harder for people to let themselves get to that place than people think. Like when's the last time you cried in a scene where you weren't just mad at the top?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I know for me, a lot of the time it was when I was made to cry in scenes, it's because I was just pissed at the top.
Yeah. Actually, it's so funny because when we were at Folsom last, I cried because I was so mad at Kiss Me Dead Little.
Yeah.
I was so angry.
Like
at her.
frustrated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I scream her name. It's even on video. I have a video of it. And I started crying because I was so
Which
hurt.
scene was it?
It was the last one. She like ripped that whatever rope.
At our booth?
Yes.
Wow.
And then
I don't think I noticed that you cried. And I was watching that scene intently.
Because I was like,
I was behind you, so.
Yeah, because I had my face for it. But I was like, I was so angry at her because she caused me so much pain at that time. And I was also like, but yeah, it was cool. But no, sometimes I guess on crying, I do have a thought. Cool. I want to pull us back to in a second. But on crying, that was different because that was intense as fuck. Yeah. It was outside, crowd, Folsom, whatever.
That was a hard scene too.
Yeah, I can cry in that and there's no whatever. But like if it's like me tying casual at the bank or something, chill vibes, Captain has a little whiskey they're sipping on. Yeah. Captain's not tying me.
I was just going to say, to be clear, Captain is just watching.
I'm trying to avoid saying kiss me deadly doll again.
Yeah.
So
KMDD.
Yeah. She was tying me or whatever. It's like, and then like, I kind of feel like I want to cry.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this isn't the place. I'm not going to sob right now in the fucking,
But why? Because it's embarrassing?
It just feels like it's taking a big emotional toll.
Piece.
Like if I cry at that moment, that's what the day's about.
Oh.
That's what I've now hijacked the vibe.
Yeah.
You know,
you're a
and
vibe killer.
I'm a vibe hijacker. You know, and I just don't feel like that is.
So it's the two extremes of you. This is like you personally. It's permissible if you're in a Folsom, in a chaos, whatever, or if you're one-on-one with the person, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Even one-on-one, I think it still depends like on how deep we're going together. Yeah. Because if I cry as a bottom, I do feel I need to realize like that is going to put pressure on the top.
But do you negotiate crying?
No, never, ever. Ever. Zero.
I do.
See, that might be something I should, but I guess I don't know if I'm gonna cry or not. Like
keep going.
There have been times now that I'm thinking, you know, I don't get too deep here, but I hate to say her name right now, but we were tying, me and her, Doll and I, and it was an anniversary of something that was really hard. Yeah. And I was really emotional that day, and I knew that it was there, and I was fighting it all day long. And I think that I probably should have like negotiated or said like, hey, there's a possibility I'm gonna cry here. But she knew that though, because we were together all day long. Yeah. And it would have been okay to cry at that moment, but also I was like, if I start, it's just gonna like, I don't want to go through that right now. Yeah.
Sounds like you kind of need to do that, to be honest. I don't know. This just brings up negotiation topic things a little bit, but with the one or two people that I'm comfortable doing this with right now, when I do the overall blanket negotiation before like ever playing, that's like listing like things I'm into, what you can do within these things, blah, blah, blah. It's like a huge fucking type out thing now at this point, because I'm like to be super specific. I will add that like I would like if you made me cry, if you are comfortable, if you're like into that and comfortable with that, I would like to be pushed to the point of crying. And it's not necessary, but if it goes there, it is okay. Like that's my thing.
I should add that.
Yeah.
I've never thought about adding that to my list.
Just so they know that like that it's okay to push to that point. And like I'll even like if we talk about it more, like discuss what it looks like when I'm like getting there, but most people can tell. Like you can tell when someone's about to like burst into tears. Yeah. And I also like will be like, if you want to get me there, this is how, which is just to not let me process. Like you just keep going and do stuff to like my back usually.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's like I have like a really sensitive upper back. Like that's the emotion zone.
Yeah.
Like I think we all have emotion spots that if you just like trip it, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how I handle that. Because I do, but I won't negotiate like that with, you know, everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would with Doll. I would be like, I feel totally safe crying with her. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel bad. And I know myself that I would do a scene where I cry, and then afterwards, I'd be like, that was crazy, like whatever, and be like, y'all want to get tacos? Like,
That's how I usually feel like, and like I don't need a lot of like, I don't know, there's some that's you could say, but it's like, I don't really need like aftercare.
This is the whole thing that I actually do. This totally went off what we were initially talking about, but I'm super excited about where this is going.
I have a, and I'm not going to forget the way to pull it back in, because we're really talking about what we want to talk about, though.
Yeah.
Honestly, we are.
Yeah.
Because the concept is about advocating for yourself, and kink has like taught you how to advocate for yourself, and myself too.
Yeah.
But you, because of your like upbringing and socialization, different than mine.
Yeah.
I didn't have that, but it's like it taught you to do that, and it's because like that's what being queer does. That's what being kink does. You have to audit the things in your life and what you're doing, and that's what
it's
kink
not
did.
easy though. Like I feel like us saying that makes it seem like we got into kink and then immediately learned these things, but it's
No.
been like years of the same shit that I was dealing with as an adolescent, or as like a young woman effectively in the world, and operating the same way in my first like year or so of kink,
Yeah.
and then learning as I went.
Yeah. Ayo. So I was saying I don't really need aftercare. I mean, I guess I do. I guess it is aftercare, but I guess really I just want to hear, yeah, you did good.
Yeah.
And I'm cool. Like, I don't need this cuddle puddle. I don't need a this, that. I just need to be like, yeah, you did good.
Yeah.
So I guess my aftercare would be words of affirmation, positive reinforcement that I was strong.
Totally.
But it's very easy.
Yeah.
It's literally just a sentence for me, and I'm good.
I think that the aftercare thing goes with everything that we've been talking about in terms of, it just makes me think of the cool girl monologue in Gone Girl.
God, it's
like
good.
cool girl da 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 da. Cool
God, it's
girl
good.
like drinks beer and eats pizza and da da da. Like
God,
whatever.
that's
It makes me be like, cool bottom doesn't need aftercare. Cool bottom just needs a high five and a cigarette, because that was like me. Like I'd be like, after scenes that were rough as hell, I'd be like, I just chill, dude. Like let's just go out and smoke a cigarette and like I'm good, whatever.
Yeah.
And then people would do that because that's what I said.
Yeah.
And then I'd be alone after that and be like, oh boy, this ain't great. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a thing in kink, and I don't know if it's all of kink or, our main experiences within the rope community and stuff, where like you cannot be too needy after. Like there's some not necessarily spoken thing, but if you're a bottom that requires a lot of aftercare, it's icky. Like not icky, the amazing person. It's gross.
God.
That like you if you need more than to chill out with me for 10 minutes with a blanket on me and you get me water, that it's like it's too much. And that you can't be too much. I think that's a huge thing that now, because I used to talk shit on when I was like younger in rope and stuff. I'd be like, I'm not like that. Like you don't need to worry about me. I'm good. And you, these like girls over here that need you to like cuddle with them for half an hour. But like, what the hell? I was just doing that same thing that we do. I'm not like other girls.
Yeah.
Like
it's still oppressing. I mean, it's a patriarchy.
Yeah.
It's just going through like a patriarchal mindset of how to oppress people.
Yeah.
You know,
like making myself look better versus other people by being like, I'm stronger than that.
Yeah.
Which was bullshit, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I don't require a ton of aftercare, but now I'm at a place in life where I'm like, yeah, I kind of need you to hang out with me. And like, I need you to text me the next day just to like be in touch. I can't like be dropped fully. Like, I don't know.
In the beginning for aftercare with me, I realized I was using aftercare as a way to just get love, and if from not from the scene, but in general from people. And I was like, oh.
Question.
Okay.
Do you think that you were engaging in scenes just to get to the aftercare?
No.
Okay.
No. But I realized I was like doing aftercare not only for the scene, it was for a bigger issue of like wanting
affection, intimacy.
Yeah. And that's why now I'm like I don't know, that doesn't I don't look at it like that way anymore. So I was big on like I want the blanket and the water.
Yeah.
But I really wanted something else.
Yeah.
You know?
You wanted someone to like take care of you and be with you.
Yeah, and I realized I was like looking at it unhealthy. I was viewing it unhealthy, and I kind of stopped doing that.
Yeah.
So now I do say I just want positive words, and then I'm cool.
I think that's cool because I want to do that when I'm talking about aftercare stuff, because I think that is something that I really like do want, but I've never just asked for it directly, and because it's kind of like, you don't want to be like, tell me I did good. But also like, yeah, do. Because like, and it means a lot. Like, I do want that. I do want a top to say like, I had a, like, assuming it's true, I had a good time. Like you like, you know, this, whatever, talk about a favorite part.
The way that I've done it is I've said my love language is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
I want to receive words of affirmation. I want to hear you were strong, you were cool, you know, you weren't cringe at all.
You didn't give me the ick.
Yeah. And I realized that because I realized the quality time wasn't really doing it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, actually physically, like, or not physically, but like, I want to like hear those words. So I just say like, my love language is this, know that. And then for the very, very few people I tie with, those two people understand that on like a larger level and can give me that.
I think that wording it that way is really good because it's like a easily consumable way.
Yeah.
Like if I was topping someone and they said that, like just like words of affirmation are like part of my aftercare, I instantly am like, oh, I got it. Like I know what you need, whatever, and would be able to do that. And now I'm like, well, I need to do that with people.
I also
two people that I also
I also don't tie with partners. Like there's no relationship there other than like
friendship.
Doing rope. Friendship. Yeah.
Correct. Same.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that changes it a lot. A lot.
Having a relationship based around rope, rough.
I don't want to say bad news bears because I'm thinking about many folks that I think do it really well.
Yes. Yeah.
But they are so intentional and have gone through hard spots.
Yeah.
Which I've talked about on the Shibari Study podcast.
You really should check out.
You should really check it out. But for me, did not, you know, it's hard.
Yes.
You know, and I think that for a lot of people, it's hard.
Yeah. And it sucks to say because I had multiple relationships with people based on rope or where rope was the main thing, whatever. And I think that, you know, one of my main relationships suffered, like it fell to rope. Like, I don't think it would have gotten like between us both being toxic, both like having a ton of like jealousy, whatever issues without rope being present.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
It does.
But like it happened. Now we're friends, whatever.
You learned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you're here.
Yeah. Now we'll probably tie again sometime.
Probably.
Yeah.
So going back to our original reason why you brought this up, it's just like, it's a hard topic to talk about because it's kind of nebulous.
Yeah.
But we're really talking about things like how kink and rope and being queer and being trans has given us context for stuff to be like, do I really like this? It's given verbiage and stuff. I think I used to look at being queer as a negative, like in the beginning. I was like, damn it. Why me?
Yeah.
In like the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
But now I look at it as a massive positive because it's allowed me to like look at stuff through a different lens. And then like, oh, I don't have to do stuff I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that happen in their life.
Yeah. And have the ability to look at stuff from that like actual perspective of what it doesn't matter what people expect of you.
Yeah.
Expect of you.
Like if you wouldn't have found kink, and let's say you weren't trans or whatever, like you would have still been on the same trajectory probably.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
What inciting factor would have led you to think to yourself like, I want to have a sexual experience for you?
Yeah.
You know, like there wouldn't have been one.
Yeah.
Maybe there would, but probably not.
I don't know. It would have been a hell of a lot harder, like for sure. The getting into kink is the reason that like I figured out I was trans. Like there's so many things that like it did in that way.
Did you get it so TK reps were easier?
Yeah.
Is that why
top
you?
surgery?
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't have to worry about that. You know? That is a whole that Kiss Me Deadly though is one of the people that like would tie things. She was the first person to tie a third rope on the TK that pushed my like boobs down instead of having them popping out. And then like after that, everyone I tied with, I was like, "Can you do that?
Yeah.
Can you hit me with the third rope?"
Yeah.
Like,
do you know Heat Hawk?
Yeah.
I
love him.
Yeah, me too. I had him on the Shabari State podcast, and he was talking about how TKs are set up for people with breast tissue.
Yes, yeah.
They're set up for women.
Yeah. And a certain shoulder build as well. There's a lot of stuff in them. Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, a lot of the times they get tied in harnesses that are not made for men.
Yeah.
And it's really goofy and funny. He's like, it doesn't, he was just like, it's kind of ridiculous. And I was like, wow, I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
So I've never had to.
It's like hard to, it's a thing that doesn't go into a lot of rope thought. That's why we hate people that tie patterns and they don't tie people. Yeah.
People over patterns.
Little nuggets in there for you.
Little bitty nuggets. Yeah. This was a harder episode to kind of get a.
We just went all.
It was a broad idea.
It was a winding road.
I feel like we kind of chewed on that idea.
Yeah.
And got our thoughts out.
A little bit.
Do you have any other random thoughts you want to
throw
into
out
this?
there, just in general?
No, not in general. On this general topic.
I think that it's okay. It doesn't matter like how late
if you're creamed.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how late you arrive on this discovery of yourself. Of like, because again, it wasn't until like my mid-20s, outside of like one sexual relationship I had, that I started to be like, oh, I don't have to do this, or like it doesn't matter that like I'm expected to go this route with this thing. I don't need to have sex with like this random dude because we talked at the bar. I don't I don't need to do that. I can decide that I want to have sex with someone only after like I've been talking to them for a month or have like some kind of whatever.
It doesn't make you less valuable.
Yeah, and it is like it just feels better to listen to yourself and not listen to the voice that's saying like, well, you know, it's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. Like that all, which can apply to so many areas of life, I feel. Yeah. And applying that to kink is also a huge thing. Also in terms of like safety, like your own personal safety. Yeah. Because if you have like a little voice in your head that's like, do you really want to do that? Then like, don't do it. Like, it's true. Yeah. Like then you shouldn't do it. Like if it's like you feel scared and not in the way that's like, Yeah, the whole safe, sane, consensual thing's also so goofy. Nothing is sane about this. No. Nothing's safe about this. That's the same as rack, like risk-aware consensual kink, or like things, all of it's edge play. All of it's extremely dangerous. They're like mentally and physically. And these things, earlier I was talking about how I think it's annoying when people assign to others that they're a tank. Yeah. It's the same thing, like saying something like, oh, I do rack. Yeah. And then everyone's like, oh my God, there's an acronym about it. Yeah. It must be real. Yeah. It's like, I think it's good to be aware of those things for the record. Sure. But like when going back to kink stuff, when you're engaging in kink, you should know all the risks, no shit, but just like know that all of it is risky. There's no not risky way to engage with kink. And like especially rope, which is one of the most dangerous goddamn things that that people can do. Like I'm not shitting on it. I just think that it creates a blanket of security. A culture of it's really smart. I do agree with that. And also the you saying assigning other people to like, oh, they're a tank, whatever. It was like a toxic thing for me too. Because then you're like you get the reputation of that in the community. And you're like, well, you gotta live up I am that. Yeah. And that's how you end up with like permanent scars and nerve damage, like years down the line after you retire as the tank bottom. Like, And I think the bigger thing is just like missing out on what you really want. Yeah. It's like, it's like the physical damage. Sure. Yeah. But I think the real thing is not doing the stuff you wanted to do then. Yeah. But the friends we made along the way. Hey, Well, it's true.
You're not wrong. No, it's true.
And also the tank thing, like you go to these cons and you do like the hardest scenes you can, and then you're wrecked. Like, and you can't do anything for like whatever amount of time.
Yeah, you're fucked.
And isn't it better to be like smart and just have fun and like take it easy, and maybe at the end you do some big thing, whatever. But like, I don't know,
Yeah.
Now we're going down Holland.
Well, look, speaking of taking it easy, take it easy on the Corn Corner's Patreon. The Corn Corner / The Corn Corner, $5, $10, $15. Pay what you want, as long as it's one of those 3 numbers.
Yeah.
It's a way to support it, to get ad-free episodes.
Every level gets the same thing. You just get to decide if you want to pay us more for the same thing as the other levels are getting.
Yeah, but do it because
it does make you better than everyone.
it does.
Yeah.
Fiscally help us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Through money.
Yeah.
Keep this podcast going.
Afloat,
If you will.
Yeah.
And eventually we're going to put up some more tiers and things as we...
Figure stuff out.
But this is where we're at.
Yeah. Life's hard.
Life is hard. Yeah. Speaking of that, you know what? Life is hard, and I guess we should end it.
Doesn't matter.
The podcast.
If you're shucked.
Or if you're shucked.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry if you're cream.
Doesn't matter what kind of corn you are.
As long as you are cream, kind,